Most of us girls got the message very, very early that what it meant to be a good girlfriend, a good wife, a good lover, good at sex, good at relationships had a lot to do with pleasing our partners and had very little to do with learning about what is actually pleasing to us. Now, very thankfully, this is not the case for everybody, and there are many people who are unwinding from this script. But I'm talking to the ones who are still hanging out in people pleaser territory, to the ones whose selflessness has actually gotten so far out of balance that you have lost touch with your sense of boundaries, your needs, your desires, your preferences. Maybe you have no idea what really feels good to you. Maybe you don't feel like there's enough safety, emotional safety in your relationship to speak about these things, even if you do have a little bit of a sense of what you might like differently. And that's a problem, truly. Not only a problem for you, but it's a problem for your partners as well, your lovers as well. And that's what I really want to help you wrap your head around, that when it comes to our intimate relationships, it's pretty much a zero-sum game, by which I mean either we're both winning or we're both losing. It is not to the benefit of a healthy, thriving partnership to have one partner's needs always at the center and the other person constantly acquiescing. Patriarchy tells us that it is, misogyny tells us that it is, but for those of us who are kind of not really into perpetuating those dynamics, yeah, we want to do it differently. It is going to support the overall health and well-being of your relationship to have two people who feel equally comfortable, two or more people, I'm going to be inclusive here, who feel equally comfortable and confident saying to their partner, to their lover, hey, this is what really feels good to me. I'd like to try this. Can we include some of that? I need to go at a different pace, whatever the feedback might be. And many of us don't actually feel confident and comfortable to have such a conversation. So I want to speak about a few things that might help you move toward that, assuming that you are in a connection, in a relationship where you feel like, yeah, you know what, there's enough that is good here that I am willing to try to evolve beyond my people-pleasing tendencies, because we do have to take responsibility for ourselves in that. We are adults, we have agency. And if we choose to stay in relationships where we don't have a voice, we've got to ask ourselves, like, what's really going on here? And what might I choose differently for myself? How could I support myself to be in a different situation here? So when it comes to those of us who are in a position where we're ready to give feedback, one of the things that's most important is when it comes to talking about anything that's going on in your sex life and your intimate dynamics, don't do it during sex. That's like actually the worst time. You want to have these conversations in neutral moments, times when nobody's tired or hungry or distracted, when both of you have consented, said, yes, let's show up and have a conversation. Let's check in about these things. I've got something to say. I've got the capacity to hear you. We're going to do the thing, right? So start from that place of being really resourced and available. Check in, establish consent, make sure everybody involved in the conversation is a yes to being there. And it's great to not necessarily make it a problem, by which I mean make it an opportunity. You don't have to come in saying, hey, here's all the things that are horrible and I'm completely dissatisfied and I have no sense of what I like and it's all your fault. Like, that's not going to go down so well. But we do have an opportunity to say, I've really been thinking about ways that we could feel even closer to each other, that I could feel more connected to you during our sex. I have parts of myself that I want to get to know or that want to have it more of an expression. So you position it as opportunities for more goodness, for more growth, for more pleasure, for more authentic expression that you both get to benefit from. And the thing is that most decent human beings who actually care about their partners want to know what it is that would do it for us, want to know the ways that we would like to be touched or talked to, the things that, might make a little difference to our arousal, to our pleasure, to our safety, to our comfort, whatever it might be, or a big difference. Most of our partners actually are interested in having more information. Many of us are not taught how to ask or how to tell. There's a lot of quiet. There's a lot of silence that many of us have been indoctrinated to when it comes to our sexuality. And something that's going to be essential to unwinding this people pleasing is actually being willing to have candid conversations about what is and isn't going well. Just because it's candid doesn't mean it can't be compassionate. And those two things go really nicely together. Speak your truth and speak it with kindness. It's not actually about making somebody the bad guy, somebody the good guy. Again, zero sum game. We're both losing or we're both winning. So we're trying to position yourself for that mutual win. Unwind from the dynamic that has you acting like a doormat, that has you acting like an object of somebody else's pleasure, that is feeding into those scripts that are really outdated and really harmful. And instead, step into a paradigm, step into a dynamic where each of you is really curious both about your own pleasure, your own experience, what's going to really do it well for you, and what is going to really do it well and bring pleasure to one another. And then you get to be creative together. You get to experiment together. And certainly, if that feels daunting or overwhelming, you get to reach out to somebody like me who can actually guide you in that, help you get to learn in a more nuanced way. What are your boundaries? What are your preferences? What are your desires? How do you begin to actualize those? There is so much resource that exists if you're willing to take advantage of it. I've got some courses that you could grab right away and do this in your own pacing. If you wanted to work with me directly, that's an option too. And if nothing else, make sure you're subscribed here so that you don't miss out on any future shares. I love delving into these topics, and I really, really wish you all the goodness in the world as you unwind from the people pleasing and create more equitable, honest relationships for yourself. I'll see you next time.